As a slight preamble, this piece is directed in a certain way. It's not poetry, it's basically an essay form. But in large measure, the place that we're in the United States of America, was a result of the European lust for property and resources. And that means property, both human and otherwise. So this piece is directed in large measure to males, and in particular to white males. Beyond that, it's for all. Greetings. For the purposes of this presentation, my name is unimportant. I say this not to disguise myself, but as a metaphor for the sense that I, and so many others, feel systemically nameless, faceless, and in essence, powerless. Even on a global scale, we are viewed by those who rule as statistical references for the purposes of workforce, voting blocks, immigration, consumption, imprisonment, and to number their enemies. Yet we reject these dehumanizing categories and assert that we are not our driver's licenses, employee IDs, voter registration cards, social security numbers, case files, or magnetic strips. Ultimately, we reject the notion that it is necessary for us to have any of these identifying documents. They, along with the system of money, are merely a means of control. For the record, I will not be owned, condoned, or operated by the makers of these artifacts. In recent times, we have seen the continual breakdown of our systems of governance, finance, and private leadership. While there is always cause for optimism in the human spirit, we need to recognize that America's leadership of the Western world and beyond, both in business and in politics, has not been and is not now the bastion of freedom and goodwill that the founding fathers claimed it would become. Further, let us not deny that many of the progenitors of our nation took by force that which they could not gain peaceably. We can no longer hide from the history of genocide, slavery, racism, ethnocentricity that has marred this great republic from its inception. What good has been done here is mostly as a result of compassionate and common sense acts of groups and individuals who were willing to stand up for the ideals set forth in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, and by idealists and reformers from around the world, both past and present. Therefore, let me state with full conviction that I am not speaking to save any corporately run superpower, but rather I am heartbound to the precious lives and lands of those whom they affect. When our children, when any single child dies in war, enslavement, by starvation, racism, or by her own hand, is this not enough to make us see that something is horribly wrong? How many more must suffer and die to make it clear that our societies and our interactions globally must change? When there is hunger, slaughter, fear, mistrust on the streets of our world, even the most uninformed amongst us must wonder at the ravaging movements of those who rule. For theists and atheists alike, will your consciences give you rest if you do not act to stem the tide of genocidal war, economic and ecological disaster? Here is the crux of the matter. We can no longer simply wait for salvation or rely solely upon our leadership to solve our problems. From sea to shining sea, it is now paramount for each of us to take up the ills of the world and find solutions we all can live with. We, the people, need to instruct our leaders as to their duties. If there is hope for our race, it will come through imagination and creativity, not from the barrel of a gun, not from an empty plate or a dry riverbed. It is now, always now, that we, the species, must act in our own best interests, forever forsaking the dominion of one group over another and the brutality and terror of military might. In the words of Buckminster Fuller, the goal is to make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible time through spontaneous cooperation and without ecological offense or the disadvantage of anyone. Without the disadvantage of anyone. Therefore, let us begin to live by these 6 guiding principles gifted to us by the late R. Buckminster Fuller and the current work of Dr. Michael Ben Ali. 1. Engender a civilization based on raising children. Engender a civilization based on raising children. 2. Contain entropy, ensuring that the flow of resources within the world economy are as renewable as permitted by the laws of physics. 3. Adopt an appropriate accounting system fully aligned with the planet's ecological processes to guide the economy. 4. Ensure and safeguard the essential diversity of all forms of life. 5. Maximize the freedom and potential of all humans without any individual or group adversely affecting the others. And 6. Recognize the dynamic continuum of mystery, love, energy, and matter that links the outer reaches of the cosmos with our planet. Embody this recognition in a universal set of ethics. May I make it clear that the existence of humanity and our beautiful blue planet hang in the balance. Since the dawn of humankind, we have struggled with self-destruction. The need for peace, freedom, and wisdom are part and parcel of the hope for evolution of our species and planet. In these ideas and our hearts are the longed for peace and safety of a world ruled by love, compassion, and common sense. The cries, hopes, and dreams of 1 billion times 1 billion souls reverberate across time to support this message in all of us.